Hello, wonderful listeners. Welcome the business of 21st century. Introduction. Are you one of those people who are affected by the current economic crisis? Do you feel helpless and you don't know what to do to be financially secured? Do you want to be rich even in these times of uncertainty? In the ever-evolving world full of slumps and downturns, it is no wonder why many people have been dreaming of being wealthy. This is perhaps why many employees continue to work overtime or accept side hustles to earn more income. Also, this is why many have been trying to finish their formal education because society made them believe that it is the only way you could get a secure job with lots of benefits. While these traditional beliefs are popular, you have to be informed that this is no longer applicable if you want to attain financial freedom. As we are now in the 21st century, the rules and ways to achieve financial freedom have already changed. In this book, you will gain all the insights you need to create and sustain the wealth you want to have. You will also be provided wisdom on how money works and all the business opportunities available to you in building the life you desire. By reading this book, you will surely be pushed to take control of your future instead of relying on what society has told you. Once you learn all the concepts on how to be financially secured in your own ways, you will surely build a strong foundation that will lead you to a life of abundance, fulfillment, and contentment. Are you now ready to begin your entrepreneurial journey that will unleash your creativity as a person who aspires to be wealthy? If yes, you may now pack your bags as you depart from your previous life, which has long been settling in mediocrity and poverty. Make sure to earn and learn something meaningful from the ride. The rules have changed. For the past years, the world has been filled with a never-ending stream of bad news. In the headlines, series of reports about globalization, foreclosures, scams, recession, and other fearful events were shown. In the workforce, the unemployment rate in almost all parts of the world has also become an alarming problem for many. Thus, the number of people living below the poverty line is increasing rapidly. In this new century, you have to be aware that the secure and safe job you want to have is no longer existing. You should also stop being dependent on someone to take care of you and your future. If you want to be wealthy in this era, you should be aware that the rules have already changed. During his childhood years, Robert Kiyosaki, the author, told the story of how his parents instilled in him a lesson that most people probably learn too. Attend classes, study hard, and get high grades. This way, he would be able to get a secure, high-paying job with benefits that would take care of him for the rest of his life. Kiyosaki believed that those kinds of words from his parents belonged to an industrial age thinking, in which he begs to disagree because this is not the industrial age anymore. In this new century, your job, government, or anyone else will not take care of you. According to him, the rules have already changed. As we live in the information age, the corporate myth people used to believe has already been long over. Whenever there is an economic crisis, financial panic, or a recession, the security nets you look forward to won't save you anymore. During the Great Depression, some individuals became rich, while in the greatest boom periods, like the real estate surge, most people failed to take charge of their futures. This is because they do not apply the principles and mindset of a person living in the 21st century. As a result, a lot of them are still struggling and broke today. Perhaps some may think that the changing economy or the uncontrollable situations are the reasons hindering their fortune. But this is not the case. Time will come, and you will realize that the real problem is not the economy or any circumstances that you experience, but it just lies within you. Life is hard, and complaining about it wouldn't secure your future. Neither blaming the government or anyone would guarantee your wealth. If you want to have a solid future ahead, you must create it. You need to take control of your income source. Most importantly, you need to have your own business. The silver lining. While economic uncertainty and recession sound negative to many, it is the opportunity for entrepreneurs to think creatively. In times of crisis, people are forced to stay out of their comfort zones and find ways to make their ends meet. To be financially free and accumulate wealth, you have to realize that the only way is to set your foot on the path of entrepreneurship. During hard times, entrepreneurs are the only ones who flourish and continuously generate income. So if you are one of those who wish to be successful in this field, it is now the time for you to open your mind. Be prepared and unlock your entrepreneurial skills, especially during tough times. Paul Zane Pilzer, Citibank's youngest vice president, left the world of banking to make millions through business. He has a couple of New York Times bestsellers which accurately forecast the savings and loan crisis. Paul also worked as an economic advisor to 2 presidential administrations. For someone who needs financial advice, he is one of those you can listen to. Paul believes that the traditional belief about choosing a career path is completely reversed in today's century. The traditional wisdom of going to school and getting a secure job is now riskier than building a business and pursuing the entrepreneurial path. While many can view entrepreneurship as risky, it is the only way for you to have more control of your life. If you have your own business, you're not just earning, but also you are choosing what path you are passionate about. In one of the surveys of the US Federal Reserve, it shows that the net worth of entrepreneurs is 5 times more than employees. Because entrepreneurs build their economy, they are more likely to remain stronger in times of downturns. As you experience several slumps and economic crises, you have a choice to whether remain a slave or step out of your comfort zone and take advantage of those problems. If you are one of those who will choose the entrepreneurial path, remind yourself to be tough and equip yourself to begin your incredible journey of being an entrepreneur. Where do you live? For several years, you may be wondering why you're still not wealthy enough, though you've worked so hard. This might be because you are going through the wrong path. If you want to know where exactly you are and where your income is coming from, you might consider pausing a while and identifying the path you are residing in right now. In this chapter, Kiyosaki explained all about the 4 different income worlds. This can serve as a guide for those still having issues in terms of their jobs and producing more money for their everyday living. It is called the cash flow quadrant. 4 sources of cash flow were divided in the cash flow quadrant. Each has different characteristics and functions from one another. It determines various methods on how a cash income is created. These are employee E, self-employed or small business owner S, business owner B, and investor I. The E quadrant refers to the employees in a company. For them to earn money, they work for a specific job they applied for. The majority of the people usually belong in this quadrant because the education system and culture trained us that way. It is going to school, getting high grades, and finding a job with great benefits from a company. The S quadrant are self-employed individuals. This is the place where most quadrant E individuals transfer. They believe that living in this quadrant will give them more income and control as they are the boss of their own business. However, this is a trap. Regardless of how much they earn, S quadrant are still employees because they will not have an income if they stop working. This quadrant can also stand for slavery because you don't really own your business. Rather, it owns you. People that want to start big businesses live in the B quadrant. The difference between S and B quadrants is that you are the employee of your own business in the S quadrant, while in the B quadrant, you hire employees to work for you. Most of the people residing in the B quadrant have direct control over the source of their income. Investors who are in the I quadrant are the people who invest in different businesses to produce more money. It can be understood more by playing Monopoly, wherein players use their money to buy houses and hotels to accumulate more wealth. Among all those quadrants, the E and S quadrants are where most people live. This is because society is telling them that this is where they get security and financial safety. On the other hand, it is in the B and I quadrant where financial freedom can be found. To live in these quadrants only means that you're no longer dependent on your job, the economy, or your boss. They are not the ones determining your income. By understanding these different quadrants, you would now be able to identify where you live and what change you need to transfer from one quadrant to another. In doing so, it is important to know that changing your job doesn't necessarily mean changing your quadrant. If you really want to shift address, you should also change your values and mindset. It's time to take control. If you want to become wealthy, keep in mind that money isn't everything when you first start out. There is also no adequate education that will ultimately lead you to achieve your goal. Additionally, the idea of hard work is also a myth. Even if you focus on working hard just to be promoted and gain more money, it will still hinder you from becoming rich. This is because when you receive a higher income, you'll also just be paying for higher taxes. In becoming rich, all you need to do is stick with your dream, gain enough determination, courage, willingness to learn, and sacrifice things for the better. Most importantly, you must take control of the source of your income. It was in 1965 when Kiyosaki and his wife, Kim, had found themselves homeless. These two only stayed in their own brown Toyota that served as their house. Both were unemployed, and a little money on their savings was left for their everyday living. Luckily, a friend of theirs offered them a place in her basement. When their relatives and friends found out about their situation, they kept asking why the couple remained unemployed. Even though both of them have a college degree and possessed great work skills, they knew that applying for a secure job is not what they desire to have. They want financial freedom and they are determined to achieve it. Occasionally, the couple took few jobs to sustain their basic needs. Despite the doubts and struggles they had encountered, they remained with their decision to have financial freedom rather than a secure job. Right from the start, this is what they both wanted. By sticking with their goal and being determined to pursue it, they became millionaires by 1989. The journey was not fun, and their life for 4 years was miserable. But because they dared to take the risk, they were able to achieve success. Everyone will encounter difficulties when money has something to do with it. When it happens, you have to remember to just stick with your decision and take control of your source of income, like what they did. After all, you are the only one who knows what's best for you. And it depends on you where your decisions will take you. It's not about income, it's about assets that generate income. When people attend network marketing conferences, their main concern is usually to know how much money they would earn in joining a specific business. This is because they're thinking about how they can replace or supplement their current E or S quadrant income. They also don't fully understand the value that they hold in their hands. In transferring to the B and I quadrants, it is important that you know where the real value of network market lies. It is not about earning more income and being tied to that trap, but rather it is about owning assets that generate income. Over the decades, many people have believed that their houses are part of their assets. When they run to dictionaries, what they will find is the definition of an asset as something worth something. But the truth is, they understand it the opposite way. What determines an asset from liability is whether they make or cost you money. An asset is anything that brings you money, while liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. In this case, as your house needs a lot of spending for repairs and renovation, it can be classified as a liability. In Kiyosaki's Rich Dad business, their companies are spread throughout the world. Regardless of what they're doing, the money continues to come in. This is because Kiyosaki has a mindset of a rich person who works really hard to build an asset rather than those just working for a job. If you want to live in the B quadrant, you should know that the first and most important asset is owning a business. Therefore, you should only invest in the things that generate money. Real estate is typically the second leading asset. However, people also often don't understand the difference between capital gain and cash flow. The purpose of owning real estate is to keep it as an asset and to not sell it to gain profit. When you buy a property for a low price and sell it at a higher price, you just generate a capital gain. In doing so, you will realize that you have just killed your asset. To achieve financial freedom, you must know how to clearly determine whether something is an asset, a liability, or would just bring you capital gain. Most importantly, you must also fully understand the right assets that would bring you wealth. This includes business education, personal development, friends you share the same values with, network, leadership skills, genuine wealth mechanism, big dreams, and developing your capacity to achieve them. A business where women excel. In the network marketing industry, it can be inferred that it is populated by more than 4 times as many women as men. The primary reason for this is that women are more engaged in a part-time, stay-at-home business, while men are usually the breadwinners in the household. Moreover, as network marketing is also about making connections and establishing relationships, it is the kind of business where women excel. In getting into the game of wealth building, it is important that women fully understand why they need to enter and leverage this kind of business. If done correctly, this could probably pave the way for them to be rich and financially free. A few years ago, a journalist approached Kim Kiyosaki, wife of the author Robert Kiyosaki, telling her that they should educate the women about the importance of money management without relying on others. As they talked together, Kim discovered the main reason why the journalist was so passionate about raising awareness for their fellow women. In the journalist's story, she found out that her 54-year-old mother just moved out with her after a divorce. This pushed her to support both her mother and herself financially. Looking closely at her finances, the journalist realized that if her consistent paycheck were to stop abruptly, she would only have roughly $7,000 in savings to fall back on. She knew that her money wouldn't go far for a household of 2 and that they were already on the verge of poverty. This served as a wake-up call for her to finally take control of her finances. This was also the reason behind her burning passion for teaching women about creating their own financial independence. In this era, statistics are showing how things and situations have changed for women. It also indicates how the need for real-life financial education and independence is now a necessity. Although the journey may be risky, the end will surely be rewarding. Aside from aiming your goal of being wealthy, you should also remember to have fun and enjoy the process as you start your network marketing business. More than that, you should also know the importance of what you are doing and be reminded every day of its purpose. This is the true essence of being an entrepreneur. Knowing what matters to you the most, getting out, and making that come into reality. Conclusion. In reading this book, you have probably realized that the first and most important asset you should have as you start your entrepreneurial journey is proper financial knowledge. You were also able to learn the ways you could do to achieve your goal. More than that, you were also able to know all the business opportunities you might build to generate more income and shift from one quadrant to another. To successfully apply all the lessons you gained, you need to have the courage and determination to step out of your comfort zone and take the risk. To be rich is not an easy journey, and there are no shortcuts such as the quick rich scheme. But if you're willing to do what it takes, persevere, and focus on attaining your goal, nothing would be impossible. As you begin your path towards attaining financial freedom, you have to keep in mind that no other person should take control of your future. All your finances, income, and decision lie within you. It is with your decision and plans you will create your own future. Now that you have already reached the end of this book, what decision and path will you choose to go? Will you still settle residing inside the poverty line? Or will you now have the courage to go out and let your creativity explore the world of business and entrepreneurship? Remember, the best life is when you're finally making money work for you rather than tirelessly working all day long just to earn money.